Elements of the story. Elements of the story creates the story's flow, builds anticipation, and excites the readers. These elements work together to create the basic structure of a story. Title of the story. It is the name of the story. It chosen by the author. Characters. The characters of a story are the creatures, people or animals that the story is about. There are many different kinds of characters, but most stories include these two common types. Protagonist. Is the good guy in your story the one the reader is rooting for? This main character is super important and central to your plot. They often try to overcome the conflict while finding themselves at odds with our next character type. Antagonist. Is a character working against the villain or bad guys of the protagonist who, in most cases, the reader wants to see foiled. The antagonist creates the conflict and is generally seen as the bad one, but, like the protagonist, there are different types of antagonists. Settings. Refer to the physical location of where the story takes place and the time period. It is basically where and when the story takes place. Plot. Is the sequence of events and actions that make up the story's significance unfolds. The plot typically includes the following components. We think that the type of plot is like you are riding on a roller coaster. The exposition is the beginning of the story. Here is the introduction of characters, setting, background information, and conflict. Next comes the rising action. At this point, the ride has begun. You're starting to have some misgivings as you realize that you can't get off until the very end. The ride is still moving slowly at this point as you hear the click, click, click of the cart as it moves rising and ever closer to the top of the hill. Now it is called rising action. The events that build up to the story's climax introduce the conflict or problem. It's not every event, just the ones that are most important to the story. When you are in the top of coaster, this is called the climax of the story. The turning point of the story where the main conflict reaches its peak. When the coaster is slowly falling and winding down is called falling action, the events that occur after the climax as the story begins to resolve. And the last part is the resolution, where the writing ends. It is the conclusion of the story, where conflicts are resolved, and the story is brought to a close. The exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and the last part is the resolution. Conflict. The central struggle or problem that drives the plot. Conflicts can be internal within a character or external between characters or between a character and external forces. Theme. The underlying message, idea, or moral that the story conveys. Themes are often universal concepts such as love, courage, betrayal, or the struggle between good and evil. Point of view. The perspective from which the story is told. Common points of view include, first person. The narrator is a character in the story, using I or we. Third person limited. The narrator is outside the story but focuses on the thoughts and feelings of one character. Third person omniscient. The narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of all the characters. Tone and mood. Tone. The author's attitude toward the subject or the audience, conveyed through word choice and style. Mood. The emotional atmosphere of the story, which affects how the reader feels while reading. Thank you.